Hey, it's Chris, and today we have a problem. You see, we came into our office this morning and found that at some point overnight, our very valiant little Savant Pro host that we've run now for probably 7 years or so totally died peacefully in its sleep at about 3 o'clock this morning. And luckily for us, we have Savant Essentials, and that means we have Savant Home Restore and Backup. And we're going to show you how that works. It's a super easy process to deal with a pretty big showstopper problem. So stay tuned. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to physically remove the old dead host, and we popped this guy out and we plugged it into a monitor just to make sure it was, you know, really truly dead. And oh, it definitely was. The next thing we did was transplant the old host and take it out of its little cage and unbox and put the brand new host into the same cage. They fit the same because Mac Minis haven't changed. Okay, so now we can take our new host and get it in here, plug it in. Just plugging in our network and our audio for our doorbell. Slide that right in. Decorative rack face. Okay. And turn it on. So one thing that tripped us up a little bit as we were doing this is I did not realize that our brand new host in the box was shipped with 10.0.0.1. The home backup, as the deployment guide so helpfully points out, only works with a new host of 10.1 or above. So just had to do a little interim step here and update my brand new host to a version higher than 10.1. I actually put it on 10.3 beta because that's what we were running previously, but just kind of look out for that if you're replacing a host with an old host that you have in stock for a little while. 10.1 is the minimum that you're going to need on the new host. So if you don't have that, you're going to have to upgrade the new host, and it's actually a pretty easy and straightforward process. I mean, you can see here it really didn't take that long. It was just a bit of a surprise, and that's on me for not reading the deployment guide thoroughly enough. Let's just speed this up a little bit. So now that we're done installing our update and our new host is on version 10.3 beta, now we can proceed with the app-based setup here, and it's really just super simple. So as you can see, our Savant app can't detect our old host. So what we can do here is we can press the Restore Savant Home, and then the app will now search the network for another host, and it'll give us the option to restore the home, and that's it. It will just start firing away. About 5 to 10 minutes or so. I think in this case it took a little over 5 minutes. We don't have a huge system here, but it went through, it did everything automatically, and it was a very straightforward and easy process.
Soon after.
See here that I'm actually watching in the room as my lights are kind of turning on and off, and it looks like things are starting to communicate again. So in System Monitor, I can see that my replacement host is back up. It's got a different IP address than the previous one did, which I'll have to fix with DHCP reservation, but that's pretty minor. You can see we've got the 5200 in here now, and if I click and go in, we can see that obviously we have errors. We have a couple of things that are still coming online. It looks like, you know, different devices that are checking for firmware updates and that sort of thing. And we can see that our system licenses our cloud binding moved over, our Savant subscriptions transferred over, our update, and not only that, all of our old versions ended up over here as well, which is kind of interesting to say the least. But yes, we now have a fully licensed system with our previous config in here, and yeah, it looks like a couple of these guys are still coming online, but pretty straightforward process. And the one big gotcha to remember is if you are putting in an older host like I did with a 5200, so the current version is the 5300, the 5200 is not that old. However, it came shipped with 10.0.0.1, and what I had to do was I had to get this to either to 10.1 or above. So because my old system was running 10.3 on the beta, that's the version that I put in there just to make it easier, but this will work with anything from 10.1 and above. So just make sure that your replacement host is running 10.1 at a minimum, so that the app-based discovery process and restore process can work. So moving back into the app, we can see that the app now recognizes that there is a valid host on the system. And if we go inside, we can immediately see that our pictures are restored. We're going to our scenes page here. It looks like our scenes all migrated over, and our pictures for those scenes are in here. Just testing scenes as we go. This scene activated, it turned on my lights and it turned on my music. Not that you can see that in this video, but you can see that I have some active services now. My services dock is completely populated the way you would expect. It looks like all my lighting loads came back in and all my lighting pictures, as well as settings and control. These are all things that were not working just a few minutes ago, and now it's kind of like it never even happened. So if we roll back, yep, we can see all of my pictures are in place, all of my controls are in here. My 2N door station just started, working as you would expect. If I go up to review the footage of that, we can see that we didn't lose any event pictures. So all of the snapshots and everything, they all populated back in. And yeah, pretty impressive. It was really not a problem to restore an entire system back from scratch. Tiling layouts, they all came over, and just in a couple of minutes of testing it, it just hasn't seemed like it's even skipped a beat. So brand new host to replace a very old dead host with a bad hard drive. In the replacement process, so far painless. But again, word to the wise, make sure that the host that you're putting in place is running 10.1 and above, and your process will be much more streamlined than mine because you won't have to update your software. So yeah, pretty easy. Oh, look at that. It also gave me all of my presets and all of my music stuff. It looks like all my account information is back in there. So yeah, very impressive, and definitely a reason to get Savant Essentials. So yeah, thanks for joining me, and hopefully you don't have to do this with a bad host, but it's a really simple way to replace a host, take care of the problem, or upgrade a client that has an older host. This is super easy and well worth it for some of the new features. So until next time, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, you see that right off the dome.